mind if I sit there. If I have a set meeting or something.
Right, I go to a crew. It's either turning the chair or
This is close.
You are close.
I'm Jerry.
Hi, I'm Betsy.
Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to get started. My name is Jennifer, and welcome to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. We have been having live music in this room for over 52 years. We are an all-volunteer operation. Tonight we have Chris and Tim helping at the counter, and Joel is running the sound. And we are super excited to welcome Deidre McCalla tonight. We have a live stream audience if we want to say hi to the live stream. And yeah, and we're so thrilled to have Deidre here tonight. She's an amazing songwriter, and you're going to love everything you hear. So welcome.
Thank you. All right. Well, I am glad to finally be here in person. You know, it's booked to be here in 2020, and that thing, the pandemic, happened. And that was, 2020 was going to be my first time here. I did do a live stream during the pandemic, but I am finally here in person, so thank you all so very much. Her day begins long before the dawn. Food's on the table and the coffee's on. The kids are dressed and headed off to school. They know mama don't play, so don't act the fool. Keys in hand, her eyes on the prize. Always working, shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Stone by stone. He loves the quiet of the rig at night. He checks the GPS by the pale moonlight. 6 hours in, 5 more to go. Miles and minutes, the truckers load. The ribbon highway stretches without end. Each inch traveled, shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Since time has begun, the work of the world has been done by those who rise to the task without fanfare or ego, with steadfast intention go shoulder to the wheel. We have the courage, we have the will to keep moving forward, though it's all uphill. The road is rocky, the road is long, but our eyes are clear and our hearts are strong. There is nothing we cannot achieve as long as we build shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Shoulder to the wheel, stone by stone. Stone by stone. stone, stone by stone, stone by stone. The day begins long before the dawn. Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm staying with a friend of mine in the city of Chicago, and came here during rush hour out to down. So we and had a GPS let, oh no, save minutes by going here, oh turn here. And so I kind of feel I have, woven my way to Downers Grove. Definitely worth the ride. I find it amazing you've been in the same location for 51 years. My friend Kathy, who's with me, worked with a coffee house that was in Chicago for 31 years, Mountain Moving Coffee House. But I think they went through at least 3 locations in that time. Is that how many? 3? At least 3. So wow, for longevity here in Downers Grove, that's absolutely awesome. And I can tell from the beautiful amount of silver gray hair in the audience this evening that I am with my people. I have once again found my tribe. And I really consider us the last of what I call the free-range kids generation. That generation that was not so monitored, not so scheduled, not so followed around. But I grew up in New York City, where on weekends and even after school, I could disappear for hours on my bike. And my parents thought nothing of it. The rule was I had to be back. Are you city kids? When did you have to be back by? Yes, when the street lights came on, you had to be back in the house. Some country people tell me that you had to be back by the time the dinner bell rang on the porch. But whatever, that kind of time. We, played kickball in the streets. We weren't attached to our phones. We went up the jungle gyms, the things of death that we would hang from. We drank water directly from the garden hose. And we're here. We live to tell the tale. So a different kind of living. I think having time and space to yourself that's not filled up quite so much or occupied by screen real estate leaves room for the imagination to blossom and grow. I am a mom myself. I try to allow as much of that imagination room to grow in my own son. I actually homeschooled him through 8th grade because, in the paraphrase Mark Twain, I wanted to make sure that school did not get in the way of his education. And that's nothing about teachers, because I think teachers do a tremendous job. I think classrooms are overcrowded, and I think too much is asked of teachers. But I tried to allow that space with my son, and I kind of got the feeling I was off to a good start, because when he was about 3 or 4, we were riding around. My parents were driving. My dad was driving up front. And Nia, my son's name, was in the back, and he got very agitated in the car seat, and he started, pumping his little 3-year-old legs, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he was like trying to say something, and I just couldn't quite figure it out. And I'm like, "Nia, what's wrong?" And then finally, he pointed out across me out the window and said, "Banana moon." And I looked out the window, and there was a crescent moon hanging in the sky. So I kind of figured his imagination was off to a good start. Grandpa's salt and pepper gray peeks out from his cap. Grandma fumbles with the radio, strapped into a car seat, waking from a nap and rocking the rhythm of the road. Safe within their circle, protected by their care, delightfully enchanted by the magic in the air above me, mighty stars blaze into the night, a place where hopes and dreams learn to fly. Banana moon sky, banana moon sky. I am the ruler of the world, tumbling down the streets. My conquered landscapes faded into dreams. The afternoon adventures quickly turned into retreat. I raced the streets, slowly warm and beat. As dusk settles the city, I do not feel alone. I know I have a compass, always leads me home. Above me, stars blaze to the night, a place where hopes and dreams learn to fly. Banana moon sky, banana moon sky. Every child deserves to know where they belong, to have their days of wonder, shelter from storm. And now I'm a mother, my child sits in the back. Quietly fumbles with the radio, strapped into a booster seat, waking from a nap and rocking the rhythm of the road. Safe within my circle, protected by my care, he points outside the window, magic in the air above us, mighty stars blaze into the night, place where hopes and dreams can learn to fly. Banana moon sky, banana moon sky. Every child deserves to know a place where they belong. Thank you. Now we are surrounded by news reports about disease. Of course, you know, COVID being in the news, and RSV is going around. I was just down in Florida. They are having an outbreak of malaria and leprosy. Yeah, also known as Hansen's disease. When I was in 8th grade, I went to a Catholic school where, you know, lepers come up a lot in the Bible or whatever. And I got into this kind of wormhole of, in 8th grade, reading every book I could find on leprosy. So it's actually called Hansen's disease. And for some reason in Florida, it's being transmitted through armadillos. I don't know what Florida man is doing with armadillos down in Florida. But so we're inundated with talks of disease, monkeypox, you know, the flu, whatever. But there is one disease that I feel is not getting enough coverage. It is spreading like wildfire, especially among our age group. But I'm finding it's starting to shift down among younger people, and people just aren't really talking about it too much. The disease is CRS, can't remember shit. And the symptoms manifest when you go from one room to the other and you get inside that second room and you have no idea why you went in there. I think there's some kind of Vulcan mind wipe that happens at thresholds of doorways or whatever. And the way it's really getting weird. I don't know about you, but for me, it now has something to do with my smartphone. I have an iPhone and it opens by facial recognition. In the time between picking up the iPhone and it opening up, recognizing it, opening it up, I forget why I wanted my phone in the first place, which for me means, yeah, okay, I guess I'll check Facebook, because you got to do something. You go down that wormhole or you go down YouTube, and then for me, about 20 minutes later, I go, oh, my list, that's right, I wanted to check my to-do list. But, I just found myself in a room, rocking on my heels, looking around, something to spark the memory, waiting for the thought to come back as I walked in there. So I decided CRS needed a theme song, something we could hum or sing while we're waiting for the thought to return. So if you need it, here goes. I came in here for a reason, but I don't know what it is. I came in here for a reason, but I don't know what it is. If I just stand here for a moment, I will remember, I'm sure. 'Cause I was in here for that same reason before. Oh, by the way, friend, have you noticed where I laid my car keys? On the mantle by the chiffon. Could you just help me out, please? It's not a big deal. I'm sure they'll turn up. Somehow I'll figure it out. Though in the meantime, I'm sort of stuck here in the house. This body's getting old. It's always feeling cold, and I aches up the water. When I want to read some books, I got to hold it by my nose, and nothing works the way it used to. I came in here for a reason, but I don't know what it is. I came in here for a reason, but I don't know what it is. If I just stand here for a moment, I will remember, I'm sure. 'Cause I was in here for that same reason before. Yes, I was in here for that same reason before. Thank you. This room it's mostly into. So, all kidding aside about contemporary diseases, we have been through this horrendous experience, the pandemic that has taken worldwide over 6 million lives, and was why, I had a whole tour of which Two-Way Street was originally a part of, canceled. And I don't know about you, but I went through a roller coaster of emotions during the pandemic. I was in the 7 stages of the pandemic, whatever. I remember the most distressing one is that I was angry. I was so angry that all my carefully made plans that I had finally was able to put into motion were falling through. And I heard all sorts of news stories of people that were just getting it together to open a restaurant and the pandemic hit, or Broadway plays that had been taking 10, 15 years to finally make it to Broadway and opening canceled. And a fair amount of anger, and then guilt about being angry because at least I wasn't sick, and I wasn't dead, and I didn't, fortunately for me, have anyone I know being loaded into a body bag in a refrigerated truck. So then guilty that I was angry because I had no right to be angry. A feeling that I could have planned better. It wasn't on my bucket list to getting through a pandemic, but just like my failures because I couldn't do what I wanted during the pandemic. So all sorts of shock and awe. And we hear about horrible tragedies all the time. Just the earthquake in Morocco that happened, the floods that are happening in Libya. But the difference between those horrendous events, and they are, and the pandemic is that it happened to the whole world at the same time. It affected all of us. So no one, in terms of an impact, many of us were spared not dying, but it affected all of us. And it was hard. So this song I wrote during the pandemic, trying to navigate those feelings and put them somewhere. And I decided to open the album that I'm touring around, Endless Grace, with this song. And one of the producers that I had for the album, when I gave her the sequencing of songs and she saw that this song was first, it was Diane Davison, was the producer, and she said to me, Deidre, that's what she called me. She's from Nashville. She said, are you sure you want to open with that? And I said, yeah, I am, because it's the elephant in the room. It's the place from which we are now moving forward and going on, but that will affect our memory and our DNA for a long time. So let's just make sure we know it happened. In the blink of an eye, clear out of left field, with a turn of the head, didn't even feel real. There was no warning, there was no sign. Everything shatters in a moment of time. When the ground shifts away from you in a way you didn't even know a world could move. A world can move. Who even knew a world could move? All of our hopes, all our dreams, trapped in the current and swept downstream, humbled by forces beyond your control, and you doubt that you'll ever find a way to be whole. as the ground shifts away from you in a way you didn't even know a world could move. A world can move. Who even knew a world could move? You did nothing wrong. Some things are bigger than you. There's nothing you could say, there's nothing you could do. Just try to hold on, break it down into tiny little steps. Take care of, ask for help. Yes, you played by all the rules. It feels like the deck has been stacked. When it comes down to it, there's no hiding from the fact that sometimes life is cruel. When the ground shifts away from you in a way you didn't even know a world could move. A world can move. Who even knew a world could move? A world can move. You did nothing wrong. Thank you. Up here. I live outside Atlanta, so I live in the Atlanta, Georgia metro area. And I've been there 29 years now, much to my surprise. I moved there on a 5-year plan for my son to get to know his grandparents, because that's where my parents were living. And I guess I forgot to cancel the 5-year trial or something like that. So, but you know, so where I moved from at that point was the San Francisco Bay Area. I was living out in Oakland, California. And when I lived out in the Bay Area and when I left, one of the things that struck me about the Bay Area was the problem of homelessness. And so 29 years ago in the Bay Area, it was a problem. And there were a few places in Oakland, in the Oakland-Berkeley area, particularly along Interstate 80, where under overpasses there were a few small, what one would generously call tents, but it was, you know, cardboard boxes or tarps, you know, over sticks or poles or whatever. And I've been doing this thing of going back to the Bay Area. I spent 3 months out there last year, November, December, and January, and I'm going back again in this year for 3 months just to be a lateral snowbird. And I was really amazed and disheartened when I was out in California last year, and the homelessness issue is still out there, but these small places where they were cardboard box homes and tarps have expanded exponentially to whole settlements around, encampments they call them, around town. And the thing that's really telling is that now the encampments are, yes, still made up of some cardboard boxes and tarp tents, but there are also some fairly nice REI type tents and bikes outside them, which to me is a signal that there are working people who cannot afford to live in the Bay Area. And I talked about this. I was at Oak Park last night. I get there are encampments around the Chicago area. Also, I've seen them in Nashville. They are now in every major city, and probably a lot of minor cities. That the problem has as much as we say that we addressed it, we really something else needs to happen. I read a statistic once that the average American is only about 3 paychecks away from being homeless, and I think that there are some of us that operate on even thinner margins than that, and I think it serves us to remember that it can be a medical mishap, it could be any number of things that just befall a person that they become homeless, and therefore it can happen to any of us at any time. So. 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'm heading for home. Pulling up to a red light, got the news on the radio. A woman on the corner, looking tattered and beat. Catches me cold as I wonder when they'll clean up these streets. She said, girl, you don't know how lucky you are. You got food on your table and a cute foreign car. You got a roof over your head and a dry place to sleep. You better wipe that sorry look up off your face. 'Cause in the wink of an eye, girl, you could be me. I work like a demon for righteous company, but my back went bad and suddenly they had no use for me. The youngest boy took sick, well, there was only one out. 'Cause any fool knows that a life is worth far more than a house. Girl, you don't know how lucky you are. You got food on your table, a cute foreign car. You got a roof over your head and a dry place to sleep. You better wipe that sorry look up off your face. 'Cause in the wink of an eye, girl, you could be me. I never did believe it would happen to me, that I could be swept away and tossed in a pile of this country's debris. You won't look in my eyes 'cause you're much too afraid of the truth they reveal. I bet you feel safe, your windows rolled up, your automobile. She settled in the shadows of the freeway overpass, cleared her bed of styrofoam and old broken glass. And I stared at the road before me till the light finally changed. I put my foot on the gas and I fled with the words still trapped in my brain. Girl, you don't know how lucky you are. You got food on your table and a cute foreign car. You got a roof over your head and a dry place to sleep. You better wipe that sorry look up off your face. 'Cause in the wink of an eye, girl, you could be me. Girl, you don't know. I said you could be me. Girl, you don't know. Oh, you could be me. Girl, you don't know. You could be me. I'm going to do a couple of more songs, and I see my special guest of the evening is loading up his Mando. Would you please welcome Joel Simpson, who's going to join me on the other end. I am, this tour is part of my support of an album I released last year, in June of last year, called Endless Grace. And you know, I've been doing this a long time, almost 50 years, almost as long as the coffee house, you know, has been here. And when I started, they were, of course, all vinyl albums, and I would hold up the vinyl album, and it's really quite visible. And now I feel like I'm holding up a postage stamp for, you know, and for those of you at home. But it's released in June of last year, and it's really been responsible for a phenomenal year for me. In the month of June, on the folk radio charts, it dominated the charts as the #1 album with the #1, the #3, and the number 14 songs. Rhythms Magazine, the Folk Alley Listener Poll, and PopMatters listed it as one of the 10 best folk albums of 2022. And the song that I opened with, Shoulder to the Wheel, this year in 2023 won the 19th Annual International Acoustic Music Award for Best Folk Americana Roots Song. And I recently saw on their website that they made a notation that I'm actually the first woman to ever win that category. So, of course, that and other albums are going to be for sale. And Joel's gonna agree to join me graciously on 2 of the songs for the album. You know him, I hope, as Ashley and Simpson, who I greatly adore, and I've only heard at conferences, so I'm gonna have to catch some of your own shows. But Joel said, hey, if you ever want to hear some mandolin, I said, well, as a matter of fact. So Joel's joining me on these 2 tunes. You know, there are some times in our lives when you just need to stop and walk away because you're in some sort of a toxic situation. And that can be an interpersonal relationship. It can be a work, you know, a job that is just draining you. And at some point you stop and realize you've done everything you could, and it's time to let it go. So this song is called Nothing to Prove. Nothing to prove. Nothing to lose. Sometimes walking away is the best move to make. The burden you bear will never compare to the freedom you know, and the warm breeze that blows. You just let it go. You're not gonna win that fight. Staying up all night won't change a thing. Won't soothe the sting of a war that was waged with words carelessly played. No real regard for which they cause. Nothing to prove. Nothing to lose. Sometimes walking away is the best move to make. That burden you bear will never compare just let it go. It's hard to convince the soul what it can and cannot control. When they stand for what's right, when it's not worth the fight, if all you can gain is contempt and disdain, you have mortgaged your hell with a piece of yourself. There's no turning back. The papers are sealed. Forgiveness will come in time as you begin to heal. Nothing to prove. Nothing to lose. Sometimes walking away is the best move to make. The burden you bear will never compare to the freedom you know, the warm breeze that blows. You just let it go. To the freedom you know, the warm breeze that blows. You just let it go. Thank you. I'm going to do one more, and then there's coffee and treats available. We're going to take a short intermission, and I'll be over at the CD piano. One thing that we have all managed to do with Two-Way Street coming back to live shows. Am I being on the road? It's we can do by living life, putting one foot in front of the other. So, 3, 4. I live in a small house on the end of a quiet street, just doing my best to take care of my family. I work pretty long hours. Lately I feel my age, dodging every bullet, resolute and fluid, laughing as I skirt by another close shave. One foot in front of the other, I am one step behind it all. Time never stops, the clock just keeps marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on. Every day has its problems, every night has its own reward. Every dawn ambles on of its own accord. Joy and sorrow are born on a loving wind. simple dedication, every generation holding it together for family and friends. One foot in front of the other, we are one step behind it all. Time never stops, the clock just keeps marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching. One foot in front of the other, I am one step behind it all. Time never stops, the clock just keeps marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching. There are moments I want to throw the towel in, but it will be just my luck to find I need it back again. Of the morning, this coral light bleeds to gray. The sky catches in your breath and you greet the day. The art of a trickster and a well-rehearsed sleight of hand, steady as heartbeat, moving down each new street, needing to believe we are part of some plan. One foot in front of the other, we are one step behind it all. Time never stops, the clock just keeps marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching. One foot in front of the other, I am one step behind it all. Time never stops, the clock just keeps marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on. Live in a small house on the end of a quiet street, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on, marching on. Thank you, Joel. Let's take a break.
Let's hear it for Deirdre and Joel. So we're going to take a break, about 15 minutes. The bathrooms are down the hall and on the left. And as Deirdre said, there's some CDs over here, and we also have some coffee and snacks if you want to refill your stuff. So we'll see you back here in a few minutes.
Thank you so much. You're doing some really nice stuff.
They do not.
Well, remind me, seriously, remind me if you go, because I've heard about that.
today. And he said to me before I left town, he goes, Mom, you're not going to be here when the iPhone comes. And I said, yeah, I know, hon. I've thought about that, and I'm really sorry. I'm going to be missing, this moment. So he was at work when I left house, but I left a tripod on the kitchen table, a tabletop tripod, and a note that said, make me an unboxing video when your iPhone comes. And he actually did. He sent it to me. So his iPhone got today. I also sent him, he hadn't gotten it by about, it must have been about 10 o'clock this morning when I finally got up. So I sent him a YouTube link to the Tom Petty song, The Waiting is the Hardest Part. But yeah, it's interesting living with your adult offspring. But a couple of years ago, he was going through kind of a rough patch. And finally, he was, emerging on the other side of the difficulty. And we were having dinner one evening, and he was unusually talkative about his feelings, which is not typical. And he said, Mom, things have really been hard. But I think, I am finally coming through it. But really, I still feel like I'm only halfway down the highway to salvation. I said, what did you say? He said, I'm halfway down the highway to salvation. I'm like, is that a song? He said, no. Did you read it in the book? No. Did you see it on YouTube? No, Mom, I just said it. I said, okay. Okay. He forgets. His mother is a songwriter. Everything he says is fair game. And he's heard me tell this story on stage. He has no recollection of the conversation, which is fine by me, because that means that he need get no songwriting credit for it. But the phrase really, struck me and stayed with me, because we've all been there at some point in our lives, and for many of us, there's more than one point where it happens. We go through some sort of trial by fire, some sort of crucible, some sort of experience that forges our character and gets us to being the grown-up that we finally realize we could be. So it's a journey that we all take. Late autumn, the trees are standing bare. Winter's coming, a sharp breath whistles in the air. My jacket is no match against this ever-creeping cold. It seeks to overwhelm me as I journey on this road. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Heading home. Our choices are rarely clear as day. Sometimes we wander before we ever find our way. I was dancing in the flame of candles burning at both ends, and watched the dying ashes ghost and scatter in the wind. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Halfway down the highway to salvation. Heading home. Stripped of all pretension, when dreams have turned to dust, and there's nothing left for anyone to take. Stand before a mirror, stare into the core. It's there you'll find the peace you need to save. Halfway down the highway to salvation. 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 Heading home. Heading home. Heading home. Heading home. Thank you. I want to thank my friend Kathy for being here because I know it's way past her bedtime. She told me that last night, so and it was an earlier night. Transitioning and people dying because of COVID is on the minds of lots of us, but really many of us are at the age where we are losing parents or friends, siblings, partners. I actually have a few friends that tragically have even lost adult children. And no matter what the age of the person who has passed, we always feel it is much too soon. And we always feel that they are still with us in some way. There's a stillness in this dusty room that greets me every day. On the shelves lie bits of memories I can't quite pack away. You'd think that by this time the stars would realign. You somehow I still find even now your laughter lingers. Even now I can still feel your smile. Even now my heart hears your whisper in the wind. We were fearless. We were warriors. The world was our domain. True believers in the dreams that danced before us, bright as rain. We knew where we belonged. The road stretched on and on. I blinked, you were gone. Even now, your laughter lingers. Even now, I can still feel your smile. Even now, my heart hears your whisper in the wind. How do I find direction? How will I ever breach this pain? Under the weight of this hollow, will I ever breathe again? Every season swells with wonder, then begs to be released. And in time, even a world of hurt will come to rest in peace out the corner of my eye. Sometimes I catch a spark of light, your shimmer, burning bright. Even now, your laughter lingers. Even now, I can still feel your smile. Even now, my heart hears your whisper in the wind. Thank you. All of my albums are available on Spotify. I was talking about with someone about that earlier. Spotify and all of the streaming services. And actually, I don't really have any issue about the music being available on Spotify. My take on it is, that if I'm listening to an album a lot, and I realize it's just becoming part of me and what I need to hear, I figure out a way to search down to buy the album. And I actually have a stack of CDs in my house that I haven't even opened because I listen to it on Spotify. But especially when it comes to independent artists, I'm aware as an independent artist that if we don't buy the music, then the artists can't afford to keep putting the music up on the streaming services for us to listen to. So it's kind of a circular thing. So, that's my take on Spotify. But the neat thing about being on Spotify and having your music so available is at the end of the year, they send you this little cute little animated movie on your year on Spotify, and it tells you how many listeners that you have and how many plays and whatever. And I've been really surprised that for the last few years, I have 5 independent albums on Spotify. And my most played song is from the very first album that I did independently, Don't Doubt It, it's only available as a digital download now. And it just, this year is my 50th year as a singer-songwriter. My career began in 1973 with my first paid gig was at Our Lady of Lourdes High School in Poughkeepsie, New York. I was in college, and the high school brought me in to sing. I played for 3 hours, yeah, and they paid me $50. I was like, yeah, that was a big wow in 1973. I was like, wow, you can make cash money doing this. Hot damn! So, taking off from there in 1973, my very first album with Roulette Records, some of you maybe remember, home of Tommy James and the Shondells. I came out an album called Deidre McCalla, Fur Coats and Jeans. I attended an amazing theater program in 1973. Came out in 1973. You can read my coming out story on my website. It's called At 19. It was published in a book called The Coming Out Story. So it was a really big year for me. I am 2023 celebrating 50 years of doing this. And out of all that I've done, my most played song on Spotify dates back to 1974 when I was a junior in college. And it just goes to show me that some things last, and I think this is my confirmation that I am not the only one in the world who is not a morning person. In the early morning when the sun is creeping into my bedroom, I'm still sleeping. I know you'd be tempted to try to wake me up. I'll have a heart attack if an alarm clock sounds and you for what on me I'm after drown. If you shake the bed, it's like to send me into shock. You got to wake me up gently. Wake me up slow. Make me up like a mellow love song on the radio. Well, I never did like sudden starts. You know they hurt your eyes and break your heart. Wake me up gently. Wake me up slow. I knew a lady once with nappy hair who leapt like a log, rode like a bear. The chance you should happen to cross her when she rose. Well, I don't know where she's living now, who shares her bed or makes her smile. Whoever you are, something you should know. You got to wake her up gently. Wake her up slow. Wake her up like a mellow love song on the radio. Well, she never did like sudden starts. You say they hurt your eyes and break your heart. Wake her up gently. Wake her up slow. Well, I can tell by the way you glow in the moonlight that you're also a woman of the night. Would you take a chance and run me wide? Well, I don't always act like I should, but I've been told by some I'm very good. We could burn in the night like a nova star gone wild, and I'll wake you up gently. I'll wake you up slow. Wake you up like a mellow love song on the radio. Well, you surely don't like sudden starts. You know they hurt your eyes and break your heart. Wake you up gently. Wake you up slow. Wake me up gently. Wake me up slow. Wake me up like a mellow love song on the radio. Well, I never have liked sudden starts. You know they hurt your eyes and break your heart. Wake me up gently. Wake me up slow. Wake me up gently. Wake me up slow. Wake me up slow. Wake me up slow.
Yeah, I was looking on Spotify, 521 people like that song.
Like that song? Real? That many?
Yeah.
I need to check my stats better. I didn't think it was that many. I did a radio interview Wednesday, That Wednesday I left Georgia,
Maybe
and
there's
then
people who listen to the song,
somewhere in there. Yeah.
something like that.
Don't you love numbers? And the interviewer asked me, this is for, I have a show tomorrow night up in St. Paul, Minnesota. And she said, do you just do songs that you've written? And I said, the songs that I do fall into two basic categories: songs I've written and songs I wish I had written. And when I come across songs like that, the best you can do is just sing the hell out of them, because you didn't write it, but you can still enjoy it. So this is a song by my friend Diane Davidson, who also is one of the producers of Endless Grace. And Diane and I used to be affiliated with the same record company, Olivia Records. And it's no longer a record company. It's changed into a women's travel company. But they celebrated here with 2 anniversary cruises. Tough work, but somebody's got to do it. Go on the cruise. That were in February, and it was a whole lot of fun because I got to see artist friends that I haven't seen in a very long time. And what they decided to do for the finale for the cruise was to feature music from the Olivia category catalog. But the trick was you couldn't do your own song. You had to do someone else's song. So, and it turned out to be really neat. So I picked this song by Diane Davidson. She is an amazing songwriter. She's an amazing performer. She's one of those performers. Diane and I do a lot of shows together, actually. And we always make sure that the show, she closes with this powerhouse of a tune that I think is by Willie Dixon, but she's like made it her own, called Built for Comfort. And you don't want to go on after Diane if she's done Built for Comfort, because you will feel about this big next to this powerhouse. But she's an amazing performer. So I worked on learning this song, and I said, Diane, I've worked on this for the cruise, and it's a beautiful song. Can I do it for my shows? And she said, Deidre, I told you that's what she calls me. I'd be honored. Tracy Nelson has recorded this tune, so it's been around for a while, but by Diane Davidson. Do you think you could love me? Do you even want to try? Did you ever want to hold me? Do you know how to cry? I'm not asking the world of you, just maybe something we could share. Guess I've always been a dreamer, but tonight I'll dream that you care. Do you think that you know me? Do you ever wonder how? Do you want to control me? Please, darling, answer me now. I don't know if we will go on from here. Don't even know if we dare. Guess I've always been a dreamer. Tonight I'll dream that you care. not living out on the fringes. I'm not a child anymore. I know the times, I know what love is, but I just can't let go of my dreams. Did you know that I love you? Honey, I have for so long. Did you know that I belong to another? For me, loving you both would be wrong. But I believe life holds its promises. It promised love would shine a light everywhere. I guess I'm still a dreamer, 'cause tonight I'll dream that you care. Yes, I guess I'm still a dreamer, but tonight I'll dream. Thank you. I'm going to do one more for you this evening. Thank you so much for coming out on a Friday night and hanging. But I guess that's pretty usual for a two-way street, 51 years of Friday nights. So thank you, Joel, for doing sound and for sitting in. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the two-way street volunteers that continue to make this happen. The album that I'm touring around is called Endless Grace, but there's actually not a song on the album called Endless Grace. More typically, when you make an album, and with almost all my other albums, you pick a title track that kind of, one song that takes in the whole concept of the album. And there really wasn't something that worked well, I felt, for that, and I was just kind of floundering about. One of the producers was Julie Wolfe, and she said to me, Deirdre, why don't you look to a lyric line for the title of the album? So, good little doobie that I am, I had an assignment, and I went home and had some tea after a day of recording. And I went through, in my head, all of the lyrics on the album, and I got to the fourth verse of one song that said, there are legions I will never see, fighting the good fight with me. They soldier on with endless grace, so the world can be a better place. And I stopped, and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I texted Julie anyway, and I said, I think we have a title. Now, that album happened because of endless grace of people donating money to make it that album happen. And actually, all of my albums have done its way. Since 1984, I've been crowdfunding before we had a word for it, but sending out letters to my mailing list that in some variation basically said, I would like to make an album, can you help? And 5 times now, people have come through. So that's, a visible manifestation in my life of how endless grace, is there. But I think it's there for all of us with every day that the sun comes up, and that every day we keep trying to live and love and be authentic and be real. The grace continues. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach for higher ground. My mama taught me right from wrong. She was my first rhythm, my first song. Through my father's knowing gaze, I marked the measure of my days. The people of my ancestry died building this road for me. The fruit of their proud sacrifice comes down to me. It's my birthright. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach the higher ground. Beyond the bonds of kith and kin lie the brawny hearts of my precious friends. They daily travel by my side, a source of strength, a chosen tribe. There are legions I will never see, fighting a good fight with me. They soldier on with endless grace, that the world will be a better place. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach a higher ground. One more companion lights my way, eases my load every day. Known by many different names, Spirit guides us all the same. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach a higher ground. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach a higher ground. Now, when I was writing this song, I was struck a bit by the irony that I was going to be singing I Do Not Walk This Path Alone, when for the most part, except when Joel comes up for a couple of tunes, I am up on this stage alone. But then I realized if I am up on a stage, hopefully I am not totally alone in a room, that you'd be here. So we'd have each other. And not only would we have each other, but we'd have all the people before us and all the people that walk the path with us that have brought us to this moment in time. So in many ways, most ways, we are never alone. And we all have reason to sing. So I'm going to teach you the chorus, this song. It's really easy. It's just 2 lines. We'll learn it 1 line at a time. First line. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. Give it a try. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. Sing it for the ancestors. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. Next line. We stand on someone's shoulders when we reach for higher ground. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach for higher ground. Put it together. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach a higher ground. A little louder. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach a higher ground. Well, you did so well with that. We're gonna go to audience participation, level 2. The call and response. I'll be the call. You be the response. You with me? You ready? Here it comes. Reaching. All right, 51 years of two-way street. I know you can do it. We're taking another shot. Reaching. Yeah. Reaching. Higher. Higher. Reaching. Higher. Reaching. Higher. 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 Time. I do not walk this path alone, no matter where I'm bound. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach for higher ground. We all stand on someone's shoulders when we reach for higher ground. Glad to be here at Two-Way Street. Thank you so much.
Well, let's hear it one more time for Deidre McCalla, everybody. She's fantastic. Thank you very much for coming, and we hope to see you again next Friday for Waddle and Daub. Make sure you check the rack outside. There's all kinds of flyers. We've got barn dances, we've got workshops, and then a whole bunch of local venues have their flyers out there for more great music. So check it out, and thank you again to Deirdre. We loved having you. We can't wait to have you back.
Oh my God. Thank you. So I'll be over at the piano record merch.
I need to go crawl under a rock. I'm fired from my job. John, I'm sorry. No one at the Two-Way Street gets out of here without an encore. I was so excited. I forgot to even say it.
It was your bedtime, admit it.
I know. I'm sorry. My face is all red. So, yes, do you have one more song?
Yes, I happen to know a few dozen more songs.
Yes. And thank you. I'm so sorry. One more song for Deirdre. Thank you.
I will leave you with somewhat of a meditative lullaby. I don't know. I assume a number of you are parents or grandparents. And especially when they're young, they go to bed before we do, if we're lucky. But when we finally do turn in as parents, I think, or as grandparents, if you're watching over the young ones, that before you go to bed, you look in on the room to make sure they're still breathing. It's really a contemplative moment because it's part of the time I realize that I can't protect my kids from everything as much as I want to. There's a world out there that's sometimes not kind. We think about the school shootings that have happened. All those parents did was send their kids to school that day. But what we can do is to always be present for them, always to love them, always to let them know that we're doing whatever we can on their behalf. And hope they continue to sleep well. The moonlight falls like water and splashes on your head. Your countenance so peaceful with its childlike debonair. A midnight meditation, the vigil I must keep. Before I rest, I stop a moment just to watch your sleep. I cannot live in your dreams. I cannot keep you from harm. But all your mama can sing to you sweetly all night long, all night long, all night long, all night long. You look to me for answers. I pretend I have a few. For children need an anchor, and that's what parents do. But in a guarded corner lies a secret we conceal. There are limits to our powers, there are hurts love won't heal. I cannot live in your dreams. I cannot keep you from harm. But oh, your mama can sing to you sweetly all night long, all night long. Danger may wait within the shadows, but angels are poised to guide you home. May the memory of this melody sustain you as you face each new unknown. I cannot live in your dreams. I cannot keep you from harm. or your mama can sing to you sweetly all night long, 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 all night long. Thank you all very much.